Good day, everyone. Back with Talk Football Live with Biodun and Ayo. How you guys doing today?
Doing well, man.
Good.
Good to
Great,
be
great,
back.
great.
Week 25.
All right, week 25. We're coming to talk about EPL games, English Premier League. Discussing Spurs, Chelsea, Arsenal, Leicester. And we're just going to touch on a couple of other games, just with brief predictions. Maybe not score lines, but we're just going to talk about who we think is going to win. If it's going to be a tie. But to start today's chat, we're going to start with Arsenal, Leicester. You guys are both Arsenal fans. I'm interested to hear your opinions on how that game is going to go. We know in the last two Leicester games, Leicester whooped Spurs mercilessly. And then against Man U, they put up a very, very great performance in the first half. Then second half just crumbled. So which Leicester do you guys think is going to come out against Arsenal? The one against Spurs or the one against Manchester United? Bjorn, what do you think?
So to be fair to Leicester, I think it was the same Leicester who played Spurs that showed up against Manchester United, at least for the very first 35 minutes.
Okay, true.
Now, they failed to do the basic things, right? Because the game is not just about attacking. And people talk about when you miss your chances, you might just come back and regret it. And I think that was their story. They had the opportunity to go first and dictate the direction of the game. It's just not enough for you to play well, attack well, and fail to defend and allow goals, because at the end of the day, it's 3 points, and the 3 points is determined by how many goals you're able to put at the back of the net of your opponents, right? Compared to how many you can concede. So I think they shot themselves in the foot, and they deserve to regret the chances that they missed. Now, I said that to give them credit for the way they played, and I think they did well against Spurs, and they also did well against Man U. But failing to do the basic things, that is what you get. I don't expect them to have a lesser performance when they play against, especially they'll be playing at home. Definitely want to bounce back, because the bottom still it changes every week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And stay in the league. So I think very, very tough test for Arsenal, especially Partey might still be hurt, which is a key and an important player. His personality helps players to move up, knowing that there's somebody that can, support the defense, right? And intercept and think about, possible, ideas that the opponent might be trying to execute. We're going to have Jorginho in his place. I think his last game was a very good game, but I'm still worried about Jorginho. And obviously, Jorginho can never be compared to Partey. He's a great player, but when it comes to that physicality and that ability to reason of what the opponent might be trying to do, Jorginho might not just be interested in defending, but it would help and support the team with those fluid passes. So I think it's going to be a tough game. I think we should make sure that we don't lose the control of the game like Man U did. Man U did that, but they have strong wing players and backline that are very, very aggressive. My backline, Arsenal backline, is not that aggressive. We're good. They're solid. They're confident, but they are not that aggressive. And the firepower coming from, Tete, the new guy, Avi Barnes on the right, on the left, James Maddison, which I'm praying that is not fit for that game, and Kelechi might be trying to redeem himself. So I think it's going to be a very good test for us. It's a must-win for Arsenal. Let me just say it that way. It's a must-win. There's an opportunity. City had dropped points. They won't drop a point back-to-back. I don't think they will drop points back-to-back. So it's a must-win for Arsenal, and I think it's going to be a tough one. And I think we should start out strong and end strong. I'm hoping it will be a high-score match, just as it was in the first leg when the season started. It was 5-2, right? Arsenal won 5-2. So I think it's going to be a nice scoring game, and I think Arsenal might come on maybe 3-2 or 4-2.
3-2 or 4-2. Okay. When you said Jorginho is a great player, I was going to cut you off. I was like this. Like, I don't know if you're using the word great.
I said what I said.
Okay. You mentioned some key players. Tete on the right. What's his name? Avi Barnes on the left. Maddison in the middle. Madison, as we can see with lineup going through, is a test. Test for it's going to be tested for fitness. It's going to be a late test. We're not really sure it's going to be fit or not. Um, you also mentioned Jorginho, which you called a great player, which I totally disagree, but that's a story for another day. Jorginho, Madison connection, because they're going to face each other in that midfield at some point, and I think that may be the key aspect. But I want you to shed more light on that, Ayo. What do you think will be the determining factor if Madison plays or he doesn't play? You can tell us a prediction for both. What do you think will happen if he plays or if he doesn't play?
So I started, I don't know if you noticed, I started laughing a little bit when Bjorn was talking about how great Partey was and how key he was to the team, because I knew what was coming for Jorginho. So I mean, we've said this, right? Jorginho is, when Partey and Xhaka are fit, I think Jorginho is a solid backup for the team. He's an upgrade on what we had before on El Neni and Lukunga, but he's not the ideal player that I think we will want in our first 11. That said, I think Jorginho is a very good player. Maybe not great, but I think he's good in that he understands his weaknesses. He knows he's not the quickest player. And so he's actually very tactically astute in terms of positioning himself on the ball, especially in the build-up phase of play, right? So he's good at positioning himself tactically to receive the ball and distribute the ball. One of the key reasons why Sarri brought him over to Chelsea was his ability to continue play, right? He's very good at receiving the ball and keeping the ball moving, which is something that is essential to the way Arsenal like to play as well.
Yeah.
If Arsenal do a good job of maintaining possession and keeping control like they've done for large parts of the season, I think we will see Jorginho in good shape. It's good for us if Madison is unfit, because Madison is actually very good in one-on-one situations. He's very good at receiving the ball on the turn, kind of like Smith Rowe does for us when he's fit as well. And he's very good at receiving the ball on the turn and sprinting away from his marker. And that might be where Jorginho struggles if he's exposed in one-on-one situations with Madison. If he's able to position himself away from Madison where he's, in position where it's not a direct one-to-one matchup, I think Jorginho will come out of that battle. So it depends. I looking at the assessment from Brendan Rodgers, I don't think Madison will start. It looks likely that Tielemans will start that game for them, and Madison will come in off the bench. Kenetesa on the right was another matchup that you mentioned. I actually think that might favor Zinchenko as well, because Zinchenko struggles when you try to beat him on the outside. And Tete is left-footed, which I think Zinchenko prefers to actually force players infield, and I think that might be an advantage to Zinchenko. So those are key matchups. If Ben White or Tomiyasu starts against Harvey Barnes, that will be a tricky game all day. I think that's where actually the battle will be. That is where the game might be won or lost for Arsenal or Leicester. It's down the right wing for Arsenal.
Yep. Okay, so you don't think Madison's presence, starting or not starting, will play a key part? So basically, what I'm saying
it always plays a key part. I mean, I've said this before. When Madison plays, Leicester is like a top 6 team, top 4 team. When Madison is out, they're relegation candidates. So if he starts or whenever he gets a chance to play, Leicester will play better. If he's on the bench, it's good for Arsenal.
All right. And your prediction?
Your prediction? I'm going to go 3-1 Arsenal.
3-1. Bjorn said 3-2. You know what's so funny? Normally, I wouldn't want to predict because you guys have the floor, but I actually think this game is going to be a tie. I don't know what this scoreline is going to be. I'll say maybe 2-2. It's going to be a high-scoring game, like you guys have been saying. And I'm not saying it's going to be a tie because Bjorn is smiling, thinking I'm saying that because I'm a Chelsea fan, because I don't want you guys to get your 3 points. But I actually think, like you guys mentioned earlier, the Leicester we saw against Spurs, similar to the Leicester we saw against Man U for the first 30-35 minutes of the game before they slept off. I think whether Madison plays or not is very significant, but If he doesn't play, I think there's always a way around it. Now, the Jorginho aspect of positioning, which you mentioned, I just want to go back to that real quick before we wrap up this particular segment. Jorginho positioning himself tactically can help Arsenal. So basically, where he receives the ball or where he makes his plays. Do you think that choice is that of Jorginho's or of the coach? Who makes that choice of where Jorginho positions himself? Is it going to be Jorginho or is it going to be the coach? Ayo, you can go.
I think it's a little bit of both, right? In terms of where he positions himself as a coach or as a manager, you give guidelines, right? There are rules that your players have to obey in certain phases of play, right? And I think Jorginho knows, and then it's about the players understanding those rules and understanding how to apply those rules during the game. As a manager, you don't get to tell players, all 11 players, where to be at every moment of the game. They understand the rules and how to obey that in every phase of the play. When you're building out, when you throw in, how to position yourself. And I think that's where Jorginho excels, is he knows where to be in position according to how Arteta wants to play. I think he's already well up to speed, that he's aware of how to work with Arteta's style of play and how to position himself, which is why I think a lot of people called for Trossard to start. We saw he wasn't that great, and I think it's because that understanding is not quite there from Trossard yet. Not because Trossard is a bad player or he's just ineffective. It's because of that understanding what rules to apply in every phase of the play.
You said a lot of people call for Trossard to start. You mean Bjorn called for Trossard to start?
No, I mean, so Bjorn did, but a lot of Arsenal fans, I pay attention to. I know you're trying to call Bjorn, but in Arsenal forums and chat, a lot of people were calling for Trossard to start. And when he eventually started, he didn't have a bad game, but he didn't really have any effect.
He had a good game either. Yeah. Bjorn, over to you. Trossard starting or not starting, that's one thing. Jorginho's positioning, as I just said, it's a bit of both coach and player. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think that will play a key part in the game?
I mean, I think Ayo is right. I can only add details, like add a little coloring to what Ayo described. And this is how I will explain it, right? It's both. And when it's both, the manager has a style he wants to implement. He has a way he wants to play. He has a style he wants the team to get around and understand this is what he wants to do. That's his concept. Remember, he doesn't kick the ball. He doesn't play the ball. These boys play it. So regardless of the best and the most intelligent idea that you have, if you don't have the players to execute, it's nothing, right? Yeah. So when it comes to the players, are you intelligent enough? Are you smart enough? Are you capable enough to execute what the manager is trying to do? And that's where it comes to the part of the player. Arteta was a midfielder. He has always had that idea of controlling and understanding the game, even as a player, right? And I'll borrow something from when Xavi said, when you've played as a midfielder on a Barcelona team, you have an head start. He's got an head start. A midfielder, if you want to be a great midfielder, if you don't know how your field looks like, the shape of your field, who is around you, who makes this run, you're not great, right? Mm-hmm. So and I'm sure that's what he talks about every day on the training session. So when he wants his players to stand, everybody knows where they should stand, where they should position, how they should think. When they receive the ball, they should know who is supporting them. They should know how to play. And they should have, on their own, it's their job and responsibility and expectation to keep the ball, even when you don't have spaces, because the opponents are not dumb as well. They're trying to prevent and counter whatever you're trying to do. So my point is this: Jorginho came as an experienced player. We didn't buy an infant. He's an experienced player. He comes with a lot of experience. He knows where he needs to be already. Mm-hmm. He has played that role. He has done it. So he should know. When it comes in, of course, there will be tweaks based on what Arteta wants to do and how Arteta wants to organize and play with the teammate. He should get that. And when he understands that, it's left to him to then carry out what Arteta is trying to do, which makes sense. Because if he's out of position, they obviously won't be able to connect with Zinchenko. If he's out of position, they obviously won't be able to connect with Odegaard. And if he's out of position, when we lose possession, then it puts him at a disadvantage to cover as well. The first goal against Aston Villa, it still paid me till now. And I know people said it was all over and nobody could prevent it. But I agree. It was a long ball above everybody. But go watch the movement. Zinchenko that lost the ball actually made it to the box.
To the box.
Faster than Giorgio. You should go and look at that. He made it faster. He made it
I'll
back
check
into
that.
box before Giorgio.
Yeah,
And Giorgio was doing like this and running and was doing. I'm like, come on, no, just sprint back. Just sprint back one way. Because he should have been sprinting back towards Saliba and giving Saliba a signal to come out and attack. Saliba was counting legs, waiting for more support so that in case he get dribbled, there will be cover. So you could see that miscommunication. That's something that will really happen if Partey was there. It could be a long ball, but Partey will sense that. And it will run in a way to like give the other guy like, I'm behind so you can come out. Because that's the way we play. Sometimes we don't talk. It's a signal like, hey, I got you. So launch your attack, launch your, defensive attack, whatever that you need to do. Action. So again, it's new to the team. It just came. So it might take time, right? Now, to go back to Trossard, right? Yeah, I wanted Trossard. And I said it. I'm going to repeat what I said. It doesn't matter whether Trossard starts or it doesn't. If Trossard and Martinelli keeps playing with Nketiah, we're going to have the same challenge. That's just me. And I know Arteta would disagree because he's adamant and he keeps playing the guy 90 minutes and he wants. So if that's how he wants to play, it's okay. That is the manager. He makes the decision. That's up to him. But I still think if Martinelli starts again and it's still Nketiah not moving and opening up the defense, we're still going to have the same challenge. Now, luckily, we might not have that challenge against Leicester because they won't play that kind of football that Newcastle played against us or Brentford played against us. They would be more open. So we might have opportunity to penetrate. So that's what I care about. Trossard will take time. I will not fault a player that came in into the season or fault a player that has not played preseason with us. If you want to talk about players, I have many players, but that's not the conversation is not about us now. I think you bring up Ayos Vieira, and we can talk about that. But I'll shut up.
Great. Yeah, as you mentioned, a lot of those battles will be in the midfield. And it just occurred to me that midfield is actually the only position in football that I never played in. I played in defense, I played in attack.
Because you're not good enough.
Yeah, I was I'm not good enough. It's a very, very tough position. It's the heart of the team. So, yeah, but interestingly enough, I look forward to that matchup between your midfielders and that of Leicester City. Well, talking about midfield players, and I guess attackers, we'll talk about a team that has bought mainly bought a whole new team this January. My favorite team, the best team in the world, Chelsea Football Club. Chelsea will be facing Spurs on Sunday. That should be a very, very interesting game. A lot of players are coming back from injury for Chelsea. A lot of players for Spurs are getting injured. Lots of suspensions here and there. A lot of things are going on. But we know it's a London derby, and London derbies are always like very, very aggressive. People get in each other's faces and stuff like that. I'd like to hear you guys take on what you think the result of that game would be. Björn, if you want to start us up, that's fine. Tell us what you think the result will be and why that result will occur.
Sorry, I was trying to get my. I thought I had some notes here already.
Your in-depth analysis.
Well,
just a Chelsea will win. You don't need to have notes.
Yeah, thanks, man. So it's funny. The last two Chelsea games, right? I have predicted a win for Chelsea. If you guys go back and look.
So it's
I've been wondering why.
So it's your fault.
Yeah, because
so predict the loss today.
Honestly, deep down,
the loss today.
Honestly, deep down in me, that is the least I expected. Like, I will borrow from what Ibrahimovic said. He said the way Chelsea signed players, this is it. He thought that they would be scoring goals from the dressing room. Yeah, like, should you guys? Is there? I am struggling with why you guys have not scored. I'll give you another joke. Somebody said, Joao Felix.
Yeah.
Goal might be Chelsea's goal of the month. Why? Because that's the only goal that was scored in the month. you understand? So you have bought these players with so much money. And yet,
600 million.
the bottom team
500, but it's okay.
beat you at home. To me, that was it. Now, this is Tottenham.
Yeah.
It might be one of those games that would actually help. It's funny. So, football is funny.
Yeah.
But prediction wise, honestly, prediction wise, I'll stick to a draw. I think it might be a repeat of the first leg, and I think I'll go with a 2-2. It's just that I don't want to be ashamed again predicting 2 goals for Chelsea when they are struggling to score one. I think it might be too good. All the new signings are fit. I really don't know what's going on. Now I will fault Potter for this.
Okay.
The 2 games before that, Ayo had talked about Fofana, David Fofana. That guy is good. He was solid. We saw his movement against Fulham. And I said maybe the coach doesn't trust him. And I will let Ayo speak. Maybe the coach doesn't trust the guy. I don't know why he keeps playing this formation with Havertz. Somebody joked and shamed Havertz when he received the ball last game. Instead of him running straight to the goalpost, he ran back. So
Back, yeah.
I think we need a proper striker that when he receives the ball, he knows his job.
He knows his job.
But let me put it that
hearing this
Tottenham
from
struggling and has injury problem, but I think they don't want to lose at home to you guys. Let's go.
It's hearing this from an Arsenal fan because I have Chelsea bunch of group chats on WhatsApp that we talk about these things, and we always, basically talk about the whole Havertz case. Why is Havertz starting? Why is Havertz starting? Why is Datro not starting? And even the game when Datro came in, he took him out in halftime. There's always something. So, Ayo, do you think Potter is the right man for Chelsea? Or do you think the new players are still gelling? Because before you even move your prediction for Spurs versus Chelsea, we know Chelsea has issues. Issues scoring, issues defending. We lose. We concede some ridiculous goals. What do you think is the issue? Or how do you think this game is going to pan out?
So let me ask you a question first, because I missed the Southampton game and I saw that Fofana started. How did Fofana do in that game?
It was great.
It was
movement wise, as Biodun stated earlier, movement wise, in summary, Fofana should be our starting striker. And I call him Datro because we have enough Fofana, so I don't want to confuse anybody. Datro, the striker. David Datro Fofana should be our starting striker. Because there's a striker's instinct that not every player has. It's called a striker instinct for a reason. Yep. There are games that we have watched Havertz playing, as Biodun stated earlier. You get the ball, your brain instantly tells you, I need to score. But if you're a midfielder, you're looking for who to pass. You're looking for other things to do. You understand? So to answer your question, Datro was phenomenal. His movement was great. Now I don't know why he was taken out. Maybe it was an injury issue or a sprain. I don't know. But he should be our starting striker. At this point, it's a no-brainer. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, that answers my question. And I think maybe it was the answer I was expecting, because the games I've seen David Datro play tells me that he should be a starting striker for Chelsea, especially when you don't have any other option.
Exactly.
And especially when you've tried other options and those options haven't worked. And you called out something very important. Yes, that striker's instinct is very important, especially when you're not playing in a system like Barcelona, where it's not just all about intense possession, and it doesn't matter whether you have 5 players in the box and you don't mind passing back to midfield and then bringing it back again, right? If that is not your game, then you definitely want to play with a striker. Is Graham Potter the right man for the job? That was the question you asked me.
Yeah.
And with all due respect, I think I said this last week when we talked about the game against Southampton. I said, if Chelsea loses this game, or if they are not able to win this game against Southampton, a team that I am sure is going to be relegated this season, I don't think Graham Potter is the right man for the job. And not only did Chelsea not win, they also managed to actually lose the game. That was surprising to me. I don't know what is going on with Graham Potter. I don't think it's an excuse that he hasn't figured out his team. I think a lot of people said, yes, he came in just before a Winter World Cup. They've brought in a lot of new players again this January. I've never coached before as a professional, high-level manager, but I feel fairly confident I would have won that game against Southampton. And I think there was another game earlier in the season as well. I think right after Modric was signed. And I was like, I feel like I would have won that game as a manager.
Yep.
He has so many options that, there shouldn't be a question of how to win the game.
Yeah.
Like, you have all the top. Look at what Felix is capable of doing. I'm gonna stop. The other wants to say something. I'm just gonna stop.
No.
It got to the point. It actually got to the point where I was feeling bad for Chelsea. Like, I would hate to have a team with such players and be struggling. At the very least, give me good football.
Yeah.
And I see that, it's just that the team needs some time to gel. But I'm not seeing that fantastic football where it's like, oh, it's just not yet clicking. It's not just. I don't get that sense when I watch Chelsea. I don't get that sense of it's just not yet clicking. I get a sense of a team that is not sure what they're doing. And it's been, let's even rule out, the time he had before the World Cup. It's been 3 months. You had all of December to work with the team. Yes, you've gotten in some new players, but those players should have even elevated the work you did over the month in December. You've gotten Fernandes, who is probably one of the best midfielders in the world right now. You have talents you brought in Joao Felix. Joao Felix is one of the best attacking talents in the world at the moment. He hasn't been delivering goals and assists, but we've seen what he can do. He's a world-class player, right? So I'm going to stop because I'm actually feeling a bit of pain, even as someone who doesn't like Chelsea. So I'm going to stop and let Biodo talk.
It's more of a question to you, and maybe Charles should try and attempt these questions, right? I cannot defend Potter myself, but something I've said, and I will keep saying, I have been of the opinion that he would not be fired. I don't know why. I'm not in that dressing room. I'm not in that decision making. It's not my money. Because if he would have been fired, it shouldn't be because of the Southampton game. He should have been fired since. By the way, that guy has not won a game since the signings. And when I say signings, I'm talking about Felix, I'm talking about Modric, I'm talking about Fernandes, I'm talking about Fofana, I'm talking about Badiashile. You guys have not won a game with that team. If you go look at the stats, you have not won a game with that team. It's that bad. So
the last win was over a month ago against Crystal Palace. It was a 1-0 win.
So then he said something after the Southampton game. He said, people think I am the problem, but really I'm not. I don't know. Can Charles, can you please explain what that is? What is going on? If it's not the problem, then can you please shed light into why he's still there? And is it because, do you think if it was a different owner, and when I say different owner, somebody that knows the game, a real football person,
like Abramovich,
exactly, not a baseball. I'm sorry, right?
But even if it's Charles, maybe I would have
like somebody that knows the game, not somebody suggesting we should have an all-star game. You know what I mean? Like East-West Conference. You know what I mean? Do you think you will be tolerating this and not be calling for change in leadership of the?
Let me answer the question. Let me answer the question. I've never actually said it online before, how I feel about Potter. My beef is actually not with Potter. Potter's actually fine to me. The problem is the person that hired Potter. This is how I say it. Resume doesn't lie. Numbers don't lie. Sometimes you take gambles on people like Real Madrid did on Zinedine Zidane, bringing him in from the lower league. Barca are doing with Xavi, or those are former players. Not all former players succeed, Thierry Henry tried to coach, didn't really work out, so did the Man U former defender, what's his name now? Gary Neville tried to coach, Sometimes it doesn't work for former players like that, and sometimes it works, like I mentioned, Zidane and Xavi. When I talk to my Chelsea fan friends, talk about the fact that some clubs do take gambles on people who haven't proven themselves yet. Potter, on the other hand, in my opinion, has proven himself. What has he proven himself as? As a mid-table manager. In the past 4 or 5 years, Brighton has successfully hit mid-table. They've been doing better. Maybe this year they're 11, the next year they're 8, they are 7. It's all mid-table. Yes, and they've never been to Europe. So if I consistently do something and you bring me in, then you expect me to do the same thing I've been doing. You don't expect me to just magically overnight change. So like I said, I have a problem with a person who hired Potter. Because if you're going to hire Potter, who has constantly been a mid-table manager, bring him into Chelsea, which is a big team, and we expect us to win the league, then you are asking for a miracle. Just like Moyes had at Manchester United. Moyes has consistently done his job at Everton before he joined Man U. Mid-table, mid-table, mid-table. You brought him into Man U and expecting to miraculously win. It doesn't work like that. Winners will find ways to win, or at least ways to show that they desire to win. Ancelotti Everton showed the team had potential because of the coach. Once he left, Everton has been fighting relegation since then with the same team. So to answer your question of what's going on with Potter, why he's not being fired, I'll answer the why he's not being fired question next. The issue is Potter is a mid-table coach. Would he become a big coach in future? It can happen. But does Chelsea have the time to wait for that growth? I don't think so. Now, to the reason why he hasn't been fired,
y'all have been waiting.
We are waiting. Well, here's the problem. The reason he hasn't been fired is all because of the way the owners want to run the team. Some statements were made about 2-3 days ago about how they don't want to become a team that, recycles
managers.
Exactly, recycles coaches, which I understand. You want stability. Man, you did it with Ferguson. Some teams do it and it helps, but sometimes you gotta cut your losses. You gotta make that move. In my opinion, I've been watching football since I was a kid, and I think Biodo mentioned someone who understands or knows football. I've done a little bit of coaching here and there. Potter is a mid-table coach. Sometimes, and a team is a reflection of the coach. When you watch the team and you watch how quote-unquote confused the players are, position-wise, delivery-wise, even understanding the basics of what the team is supposed to do. At least for the first 5, 6 games, Potter didn't know his starting lineup. And even when he figured out the starting lineup, there was no clear-cut direction of what the team was told to do. It was just pass to the next man in blue, try to move forward, try to score. So my point is, they aren't firing Potter because they're trying not to do the recycling. And of course, the way Thomas Tuchel was let go was ridiculous. Although there are a lot of things that were internal on that issue. But for a Champions League winning coach, I don't think it should have gone that way. But that's history, right? I personally think hiring a coach who has a resume of winning is the most important thing. Hire someone who has gotten a result somewhere else. You don't have to come to Chelsea to grow your resume and become good. You have to come already good. So Zinedine Zidane is available. Now, people tell me he was playing with Ronaldo, Benzema, Bale. He had a solid team. I bet with that team, Potter may not have won anything. Because like I said, he's a mid-table coach. So my point is, I had a coach who was on something. Zinedine Zidane, yeah, you're saying he had one shot, it may be a one-hit wonder. I'd rather take that gamble. Went to Madrid, won 3 Champions Leagues, won the league, left, came back, won the league again. You understand? So my point is, winners find a way. Even Mourinho, the last trophy Manchester United won was in Mourinho. Even with the bad history Man U has had since Ferguson left. Moyes couldn't do anything. LVG couldn't do anything. Mourinho came, won trophies. Ralph Ragnick, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. A winner will find a way to win.
Charles, can I stop you?
Before you stop me, Mourinho in Tottenham took them to Carabao final. Could have won it if he didn't get fired before the final. Maybe he would have won it. We'll never know. Winners will always find a way to win, regardless of the tools they are given. And that's the problem. Like you said, the team we have right now, even you would have won some games. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to diss Potter. It's not about Potter, it's about those who hired him, who are kind of myopic and not saying beyond, a particular threshold. Potter is not yet on that level of Klopp, Guardiola. He's not yet on that level, and that's the kind of coach Chelsea needs. Because Chelsea is a big team. We spent almost 600 million in January. You need to show results with that kind of money. So summary of it all is, They'll probably end up firing him at the end, or maybe let him go to summer and then make changes. But I don't think they're gonna fire him within the season because of they don't want to do the whole recycling. And maybe they will let him go to next season. We shall see. But you need to hire a coach that has a resume, that has done something. What have you done where you came from? Go ahead, Yodo.
I liked your analysis. I liked your point.
But
I am just going to say something that throws everything away into the trash.
Go ahead.
Winners will always find, because that's the takeaway. Winners will always find a way to win. Ayo is Conte is going to win something for Spurs.
You're bad.
Is that your comeback?
No, I mean, winners will always find a way to win. Conte, Spurs coach, right? Tottenham Spurs.
Yeah.
Is he going to win something with Spurs?
I think the difference is that Chelsea is not cursed. Tottenham is cursed.
Well,
I don't know. Again, I just want to give you an outlier. You understand what I'm saying? I get your point. That's why I said I liked it. Conte is known for that.
I'm about to give you my response to Conte.
Everything you described, we can bring Conte and put it in everything you described, right? Because he did it for Chelsea, right? And he has done it everywhere. He doesn't build. He goes there. These are instant winners, quick winners, microwave managers, right? Conte, Mourinho. That's why they hire them. That's why they get paid a lot of money. Tuchel, right? Even Guardiola, other than he has not achieved it so far, right? They have to go somewhere because that's how they feel great about themselves. You understand what I'm saying? Now, is Pochettino a mid-table coach? That's my second question for you, right? Because I get your point, but sometimes you need to understand that sometimes not everything will fall into lines for you. And you need to understand that. Now, I agree with you about the owners of the club. But the owners, when you don't have something, you can't give what you don't have. They don't know anything about this sport. And not just firing top, fire the sporting director, people that could also contribute to decisions and help technically. They are not there. So how would they know whether they are hiring a good coach or not? You're talking about resume. They can read the resume, but it doesn't translate into nothing for them if that's not the game that they understand. You understand my point with that? So Potter, I think he has too much. I think it's too much for him to handle. I think it's above his experience, and it will take time. It is. I don't think anybody would say Potter requested for those players and signed them. We all know the truth. Don't let us deceive ourselves. These are players that are bought, and we need to understand that this is a real political and managerial decisions. That somebody wanted to flex his muscles to say, "You're just a manager, talk and I can deal with you. I have the money, you don't have the money." You understand? And he fired him and brought somebody that will listen to him. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's okay. Yes, we'll do it that way. That's exactly what happened. So you guys should deal with that trash. My point is, regardless of who the manager is, Ayo said it. If Ayo was how can you have so much talent? You should be scoring from the dressing room. You should be kicking the ball and should be scoring. What are you talking about?
I just want to look at the result again.
We didn't
Forest
get
Chelsea. Beginning of the year, 1-1. Against Man City, 0-1 loss. Fulham away, 2-1 loss. Then the 1 win, 1-0 against Crystal Palace, 0-0 Chelsea, Liverpool, 0-0 Fulham, 1-1 West Ham, and then they lost to Southampton. Nah, if I own that, I don't care how. If you were Guardiola, would have fired you after that run of results.
Yep. Let me answer the Conte question real quick. In regards to Conte winning something for Spurs, it's still very possible. You don't know. Now, how long has Conte has had a full year with Spurs,
what is going to win? Tell me what is going to win.
Hold on. Conte has had his full year with Spurs. Let's compare Conte. If you're going to bring Conte into it, let's compare Conte to what's his name? To Potter. Conte has had a full year with Spurs and took them to the Champions League, which we know Potter is not going to do for Chelsea. You understand? And Conte right now, although is out due to the surgery he just had, his team is still challenging for top 4, which we know Potter has no place in. So, and of course, back to Conte's resume. Maybe you can say Conte is an outlier or Spurs an outlier. Spurs are cause, like you said. But I don't think you can actually compare Conte to Spurs because, as I said before, Conte has done his part in history. Potter has not. So I'll take Conte over Potter right now. Even you would. Because with the team we have right now, Conte will get results compared to what the result Potter is getting. So at the end of the day, now it's not guaranteed that you bring in a winner, quote unquote, and you get the results. But I'll rather gamble on a winner. That's the overall point. I'll rather gamble on someone like Conte, like Mourinho, Guardiola, Zidane, who have those trophies. Ancelotti is one of my favorite coaches of all time. I'll rather gamble on coaches like that than bring
But
someone.
Ancelotti went to Everton and couldn't do anything with those resources, right?
Well, you saw the effect. You saw the effect. For the short time he was there, you saw the difference. The Everton, where Everton got to with Ancelotti,
they didn't make top six.
I'm about to finish the statement. Where they got to with Ancelotti, they haven't gotten that far since they left. They've been in bottom rank since they left. And going back to the issue of hiring people with good resumes, I always talk about Lampard. When Chelsea hired Lampard, I made the same statement I'm making now about Potter. What has Lampard done? He couldn't even promote Derby County to the league. Why are you hiring him? Like, if you haven't done something, why are you being hired? And we all know how that ended. So my point is,
it was an era of giving former players an opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. My point is, as a club of Chelsea's caliber, former Champions League winners, league winners, FA Cup winners, all that stuff, you shouldn't hire. It's a big club. Hire a big coach. Hire someone with a good resume. There's some jobs you won't get if you don't have experience. And experience comes from results. What have you done? You were working here. What did you achieve when you were there? So it goes back to the point of hiring of Potter was the mistake. It's not Potter himself. Potter can do how much he can do. Hiring him was the mistake. I'm sorry?
I said how much he's capable of.
Exactly. So hiring him was the mistake. The job is bigger than him. I just feel bad for him because he was comfortable at Brighton. He should have just stayed there, honestly.
So it sounds like we're talking about a Tottenham win this weekend then, with everything we've said in the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, predicting for my heart, I would say Chelsea wins 1-0. Predicting in my head, I would say Tottenham wins 1-0. 1-0 either way, whatever happens.
Okay, I'll stick
Sounds
to my
good.
goal.
All right.
Again, this Tottenham team right now is a weak team. They have a lot of injuries, and
weak teams tend to wake up against Chelsea. Southampton is the last team. It's the last team in the league, and they beat us. What are you talking about? There's no weakness right now, my brother. Weak teams tend to wake up when they beat us. Anyways, moving on. Let's just do a quick run of the games other games that are happening. So all I want you to say is win for City or a draw. Win for Everton or a draw. Just tell me what you think. I'm going to read out the names, the games. You tell me what you think is going to happen, okay? Ayo, we'll start with you. Bournemouth, City.
City win. 2-1.
2-1. Biodun?
I think it's going to be more than 2-1. I think it might be 3 or 4-1.
So should I captain Alan for my FPL?
Let me refresh my memory with the last game. Alan played. The only goal was scored by Mahrez. That was the Champions League game. De Bruyne is still sick. De Bruyne is still sick, so he might sit out. Alan will play. Alan might score a goal or two. He missed a good chance last year, so he's going to be hungry. Might be a good time for him to score like 2 or maybe another hat-trick. But I think City might win up to 4-1. They've played a 1-1 draw back to back. They won't be happy. That team, I know them. They will be really, really upset with themselves. So they're gonna win.
City win. Everton, Aston Villa. Yeah, then go ahead.
Don't like Everton. I actually pray and hope and wish that they relegate. So Aston Villa win.
Aston Villa win.
2-1.
Ayo.
That's my heart, not my head.
Okay. I expect a Villa win as well, and not just hearts. That's my head.
Villa win. Okay. West Ham Forest, Nottingham Forest.
Draw. 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. Ayo.
West Ham Forest.
Wait for it.
Yeah. I think I see a West Ham win in this game.
Good. Because I think so also.
Yeah.
I don't know where everybody's getting his 1-1 draw from. But we'll move
Yeah,
on.
because Forest has
Forest?
been surprising in the
I
last
know.
3-4 games. If you guys
Yeah.
checked, that's why I don't want to rule them out. They've successfully climbed out of relegation. If you guys look,
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh
That's true.
yeah, definitely.
I think
They're
they will.
definitely a mid-table
I
team
think
now.
West Ham,
So,
with their experience, should be able to nick it. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
West Ham is
Fulham,
not doing as
Wolves.
fantastic as Forest. Yeah. Sorry,
Fulham,
say that again.
Wolves, Fulham.
Oh, Fulham is going to win again. Wolves, I think that Juju has stopped because they lost at home to Bournemouth, right, last weekend.
Yeah.
And that's
They've
crazy.
been
Unbelievable.
doing some up
This
and
is a
down.
team that beats Liverpool, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
they've been up and down.
Fulham's goal is to make Europe, and
Yeah,
they will not
yeah.
stop. And it's like, what's this guy? Willian regained one kind of form that I don't seem to understand. They're playing well. They're playing good.
playing
So I think they're gonna
He
win.
went to take some herbs in Brazil, so he's back
I know
now.
it.
2-1.
2-1
Fulham
Fulham Wolves.
Fulham
Okay.
should
Ayo, Fulham Wolves.
I'm gonna go for a draw.
Goalless draw.
No, that'll be goals, but it's gonna be a draw.
All right, good. Leeds, Southampton.
Oh, the guy that's been the caretaker coach needs a win. He really needs a win. This is like a back-to-back loss right now for Leeds, right?
Yeah.
And with the signing of McKinney joining Tyler Adams, I'm like, what is the impact that people? Again, I wasn't on that bad one, but it's not about just running around the field. It's about doing something with the game. I know they're struggling with injuries, but I think they really need a win. And Southampton, like I said, I think they will relegate. That game is just a 3 points. I don't think it's going to lift them out of relegation. So I think Leeds will win this time around. They need a win.
Hi, what do you think?
Worse versus worse. I think it might be a draw. A 1-1 draw.
Okay.
Yes.
I actually want to call it opposite way because I think Southampton is going to carry their momentum from beating Chelsea to beat Leeds 2-1. I know it's a tough one, but I'm just going to say
Let's see.
All right. Finally, Crystal Palace, Liverpool. Almighty Liverpool. Terrible defending in Champions League, but that's the story for another day. Crystal Palace, Liverpool. What do you think?
Liverpool is back. No,
Yeah, right.
No,
they're always back at staff. Then
they're not. I think Liverpool will win though, which is sad because I would like to see Vieira doing better with Palace, but I think Liverpool is going to win this game.
Okay. Do you think Crystal Palace will at least score a goal?
Yes. Palace always finds a way to score, but they also somehow find a way to lose it in the dying minutes or find a way to draw it in the dying minutes. There's a mentality aspect there that I think needs to be fixed.
Yeah, I agree. Bjorn, what do you think?
I think Crystal Palace will lose narrowly. Again, Liverpool was poor that Champions League game in the midweek. But of course, that shouldn't take away the performance, that very strong performance from Real Madrid. And I just wanted to call that out. Liverpool was okay, but that was a strong performance from Madrid. And the way I watched the game, it was like, even if Liverpool tried to be much braver and stronger, Real Madrid will race the game to meet them at any point. That was the way they were playing. They were playing with confidence. I mean, how can you be so confident after conceding 2 goals? They were playing like, we're going to come back. And
you know
which
why?
is that typical philosophy that I hate. And that I respect them, but that's why I don't like playing against them.
But do you know
have
why?
this confidence like, we're great, we're good.
A winning coach.
They have a winning coach. Do you guys know what happened? Do you guys hear what
Winners
happened?
always find a way to win. Winners always find a way to win.
Do you guys hear what happened in
That's
halftime?
our takeaway for tonight.
Yeah, that's your takeaway. But do you know, guys, what happened in halftime? Ancelotti said he didn't say a word to them. When they walked in, he raised his eyebrow and walked away. That was all he did in halftime. Winners always find a way to win. On that note, I think that's a good way to end it. I think Liverpool will come back as winners and beat Crystal Palace. I don't know what this color is going to be. But this has definitely been great. Chatting with you guys tonight, talking about Chelsea, Graham Potter, Arsenal, Leicester, everybody. It's always fun. And, we're planning to do Champions League segments coming up, or Europa League segment, European competition segments coming up in future. So watch this space, everyone. Like we always say, like, subscribe, share, tell everybody to follow, and keep watching us. This has been a good time. Biodun, thanks for tuning in, and
Thank
we
you,
look forward
Charles.
to having a good time with you all. Have a
Thanks,
good night.
Tim.
Thank you.
Later.
Bye-bye.